No, 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 no. You just feel like you're always saying oui or non. So what can we say instead of non? Pas forcément, not necessarily. Pas tout à fait, pas complètement. So you can put a pas before all of those adverbs. Bien sûr que non, of course not, as opposed to bien sûr que oui. Je pense pas, I don't think so. Yeah, so find some phrases, go through the video of what I've just said and find some little alternatives instead of always just saying oui or non. Absolument, completely. Non, 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 pas du tout, not at all, pas du tout, not at all. Give a level to your no. Je préfère pas, I'd rather not. I don't mind, ça m'est égal. That to me is equal. Je m'en fiche, je m'en fous. All of these are phrases you've heard before, okay? So try and find a solution other than saying yes or no, because that will just always sound a little bit boring, okay? Next one. Repeat what you have heard back to them. And I always give this advice for people doing exams. So it will just help you fill the conversation. So if I'm talking to you now, where are you from? I'm from Tennessee. Where were you born? I was born wherever, Nashville. Where do you, Memphis. How old are you? I'm 35. Do you have any children? 2. Okay, I mean, say I was talking to somebody and then, we can qualify our answer, but if you're at a stage where you're learning French, it just sounds a little bit short if you just answer the question. Quel âge as-tu? 32 ans. Est-ce que tu as des enfants? Oui, j'ai un fils. Qu'est-ce que tu fais comme travail? Je suis acteur. Qu'est-ce que tu aimes manger? Les pâtes. It's just all a little bit short. So repeat the words back to them. So you can either repeat the whole question. So qu'est-ce que tu aimes faire le soir? What do you like to do in the evening? Qu'est-ce que j'aime faire le soir? And this trick works. Remember, all you need to do is swap. And I'm going to do a whole video on this because this is really important. Swap the tu for je. So qu'est-ce que tu fais le soir? Qu'est-ce que je fais le soir? What do I do in the evening? My will become yours. So mes will become tes. Est-ce que tu vois tes parents régulièrement? Do you see your parents? Oui, je vois mes parents. So you're going to copy what the person's saying back to you. It will keep you in the right tense and it will give you some interesting vocabulary. So for the moment then, est-ce que vous avez envie de sortir le week-end? Do you want to go out on the weekend? Est-ce que j'ai envie de sortir le week-end? Oui, je veux bien. So even though your actual French that you're offering from yourself is reasonably limited in a few small words, use the words you've just heard. You've just heard. Okay. Luc, est-ce que tu as envie de sortir? Oui, j'ai envie de sortir. Rather than oui or non. So use what you're hearing. It will also put you in the right tense. And watch out because I'll do a video on that. Okay. Next thing, there are buzzwords that always seem to be used loads, and I want to just push those up into alternative choices. So instead of always saying, for example, this type of thing, let's just look at a few of these. So instead of saying ce type de choses, which I seem to hear loads from English speakers, ce genre de choses is my first choice. Okay, genre. Ce type de choses is masculine, and sorte is feminine. Okay, so the one we would hear the most in French is ce genre de choses, or this kind of thing. I don't like that kind of thing. Je n'aime pas ce genre de choses. Ce type de choses is said, but just sounds a little bit franglais for my tastes. Cette sorte de choses would be feminine, which is fine, it's said, but again, it's not my first choice. Let's look at other ones where we have 3 choices. So it's funny. Everything in life is funny. I find everything in life funny. If you don't find it funny, you are in a mess. So it's funny. First choice, amusant. Not drôle. Drôle is your third choice. Second choice, marrant. M-A-R-R-A-N-T. Third choice, amusant. Because it just feels... And have a choice so that you're not always saying, oh yeah, it's funny, it's funny, it's funny. Yeah, it's like saying nice. If I get homeworks with the word nice from my English learners, thum, thum. Fail word, okay? Good, so words that we always hear the same thing. The next word I always hear loads. Normalement. Normally I do this. Everybody has a vocal tic. Mine is the word basically, because I speak so much in teaching and I'm always trying to reduce it to a logical argument. I always say basically, which is basically me saying, listen up, I'm about to give you a shortened, logical, precede version of it, so listen. But it's spilt over into my normal speech. So I say basically all the freaking time, which is really problematic, because I'm not basic. So we've got normalement, I do this. Yeah? Souvent, often I do this. J'ai tendance à faire, I tend to do. Enfin, typiquement, typically I do this. Pendant une semaine normale, during a normal week. Typiquement pendant la semaine, typically during the week. Whatever you're talking about, if you're talking about your job, your health, your work, whatever, your work is your job, your partner, whatever you're talking about, quantify it in the time. So, how often do you go out with your boyfriend? Enfin, typiquement, le weekend, on sort souvent. Typically, on the weekend, we go out loads. So just make sure you've got another way of saying normally other than normalement. Ça dépend, that depends. Si on nous invite, if we've been invited, whatever. Okay, so just think around the box for the word normally, okay? Good. Next thing, something that always limits conversation and could be dealt with is be very mindful of which tense you're using. Okay, now if you're translating directly from your thoughts and you're up to that, that's fine. But remember to throw in a couple of other hypotheticals. So classic situation, particularly for exams and GCSE, if you've been asked and you're talking about was, were, imperfect, action, was, were, action. I went out last night, it was raining, but I walked to the shop because I was hungry, yeah, and I bought something. Yeah, a nice combination of was and were, okay? Je suis sorti hier soir, il pleuvait, mais j'avais faim, donc je suis allé directement au supermarché, j'ai acheté quelque chose. Don't be afraid, and this isn't just for exams, just for general conversation, throw in other tenses when you give opinions. Yeah, I would like to go more often, or I would have liked, j'aurais aimé, j'aimerais, da 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 da. So bounce around in your tenses. Otherwise you find yourself very much, j'ai fait ça, j'ai fait ça, j'ai fait ça. Okay? So for example, instead of always saying, je vais do this, and then je vais do this, say, après avoir fait ça, I'm going to do this, avant de faire. So we've talked about before doing and after doing, avant de plus infinitive, or après avoir, après être plus past word. So I'll give you two examples. After going, après être, aller. After the infinitive, to go, to be, and then go. Après être allé. Before going, avant d'aller. Aller took the être verb after the word après because it's an être verb. Okay, it uses être in the past. So before eating, avant de manger. After eating, après avoir mangé. So try and throw in a few of these. So rather than just constantly giving, I did this, I did this, I did this. You wouldn't do it in English, it sounds a bit boring, okay? Next thing, do not forget to throw in the sounds that I've given you before, and I will do you another little video on these, which are ben, fin, and ba. Okay? So, these are thinking sounds in French. Ben, ben, spelt like Ben, is the reflective one. Ben, je sais pas, I'm thinking. Fin, F-I-N, fin is well. We've also got bien, which does the same thing. Bien, fin, okay? Any of you that speak other languages other than English, you'll know what these are, but in English you have like well or you know. You can say tu sais in French, but it's not as common as it would be in English. And for heaven's sake, please, if you've got this as a habit, please remove it from your English, the word like. No, so that can go, okay? So, next thing, final thing I think I'm going to talk about on this topic is your French is sounding really samey, your French is sounding really boring, your French is sounding really whatever, okay? Don't be afraid to use your own tone of voice. I know we talked about voice earlier, but laugh midway through. Don't when I'm talking to you now, I could laugh in the middle and you'd still know I was talking. When people speak, they think that they've got to be really accurate and robotic, and you don't have to do that. So, you know, use your own voice a little bit more when you're talking. Show your enthusiasm, show your sadness, show your... When people speak in a foreign language, they're so obsessed with it being correct that they lose the emotional connection to what they're saying. And half of what we say is with our face and our tone of voice before we even get to vocab. So don't forget that you've got that. The word yes can be said in so many ways. Oui, oui. You know, for example, okay, you can still do that, and you've learned them all in this very classic oui way, okay? So I hope this video helps, and I will speak to you all soon, okay? If you want more on this kind of survival guide, then do let me know. Yeah, if you found the video useful, please click like.